And honestly, that advice can feel ridiculous. What if the goal isn't to give up everything you enjoy? What if the goal is simply to find an extra $25 and give that money a specific job? Because $25 can be more powerful than it looks when you use it consistently. Think about what happens when you send an extra $25 toward debt every single month. You aren't just making another payment, you're attacking the principal balance. And when that balance gets smaller, the amount of interest working against you can begin to shrink too. That creates momentum. The $25 becomes more than money. It becomes a strategy. Today, we're going to break down how a small monthly sacrifice can potentially shorten your debt payoff timeline, reduce interest, and help you regain control of your cash flow. And we'll also talk about where you can actually find that $25 without making your life miserable. Because financial progress doesn't always start with making more money. Sometimes, it starts with making your existing money work harder. And once you see the math, you may never look at $25 the same way again. Here's the part about debt that most people don't think about. Interest doesn't care how hard you work for your money. That means your minimum payment may keep you technically current while making painfully slow progress on the balance. Now imagine you find an extra $25 every month. Instead of spending it on something that disappears, you direct it toward your highest priority debt. The important thing isn't that $25 feels huge. It's that you repeat the action. A consistent extra payment reduces your principal faster, and a lower principal can mean less interest accumulating over time. That's why small amounts can create meaningful results when they're applied consistently. Think of it as a reverse snowball. Your debt balance goes down, interest has less balance to work against, and more of your future payments can go toward eliminating what you actually owe. And there's another benefit that has nothing to do with a calculator: confidence. When you make an intentional extra payment, you're proving to yourself that you can influence your financial situation. You're no longer simply reacting to bills when they arrive. You're making a plan and executing it. That psychological shift matters, because the goal isn't to obsess over every dollar or live an miserable life. The goal is to create small, repeatable financial wins that eventually become a bigger strategy for freedom. Let's put this into perspective with an example. Imagine you have a $10,000 credit card balance at an 18% APR. The exact payoff timeline depends on the card's minimum payment formula and other account terms. So your numbers may look different, but the principle remains the same. The longer you carry a high-interest balance, the more money can flow toward interest instead of reducing the principal. Now imagine adding an extra $25 to your required payment every month. That's less than $1 per day. You might look at that number and think, is $25 really going to make a difference? The answer is that consistency is where the power comes from. Every extra payment reduces the balance beyond what would have happened otherwise. Then future interest is calculated against a smaller balance. Over a long enough period, that can potentially save significant money and accelerate your payoff. But here's the bigger lesson. Don't become obsessed with one universal $25 result. Your interest rate, balance, minimum payment, and payment schedule all matter. Instead, take your actual debt and run the numbers. Ask yourself, what happens if I pay an extra $25? What about $50? What about $100? Suddenly, debt stops being this mysterious financial monster and starts becoming a mathematical problem you can attack. That's the mindset shift we want. You don't need a miracle. You need a strategy, consistency, and a system that keeps your extra money moving toward the goal instead of disappearing into random spending. Now you might be thinking, okay, but where am I supposed to find this extra $25? And this is where I want to challenge the idea that getting better with money means completely changing your lifestyle. Instead, perform a quick financial audit. Start with subscriptions. Is there one streaming service, app, membership, or subscription you barely use? Maybe that saves you $10 or $15. Next, look at convenience spending. Could you bring lunch from home one additional day each week? Could you make coffee at home a couple of mornings? Could you reduce one impulse purchase? You might already have the $25 hiding inside your current spending habits. And here's the important part. Don't just find the $25, assign it. If your goal is debt payoff, automate that extra payment around your paycheck schedule. If you get paid every 2 weeks, consider making an additional targeted payment when your cash flow allows. If you're using a budgeting system, build that extra amount into your plan before the month starts. This is where a tool like PaycheckPlanner.ai can help you see your income, bills, spending, debt, and upcoming cash flow in one place, so your money has a plan before it gets spent. The goal isn't deprivation, it's intentionality. You're deciding that $25 is more valuable helping you eliminate expensive debt than it is disappearing into another purchase you barely remember a week later. But here's the real secret. The power of $25 isn't actually about $25. It's about what happens when you start believing that small financial decisions matter. Once you successfully redirect $25 toward debt, maybe you eventually find another $25. Suddenly, you're paying an extra $50. Then perhaps you receive a raise, tax refund, bonus, or side income opportunity. And instead of letting lifestyle inflation absorb all of it, you direct a portion toward your financial goals. That's how momentum is created. Financial freedom usually isn't one giant decision. It's thousands of small decisions that begin pointing in the same direction. So take a look at your finances today. Find your $25. Give it a job. Then repeat that process every month. And if you want a clearer way to organize your paychecks, bills, expenses, debt, and financial goals, check out PaycheckPlanner.ai. It's designed to help you stop guessing where your money is going and start planning what your money needs to accomplish. If this video helped you see your finances differently, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me, what is one $25 expense you could redirect toward your financial future? Your answer might give someone else an idea they can use too. Remember, you don't have to transform your finances overnight. You just have to start making better decisions consistently. Small sacrifices can create big momentum, and every extra dollar you intentionally put toward your goals is another step toward taking back control. Because we are building real financial progress, one step at a time.